Puck is being very cute.
Yeah, I saw him. He's being adorable.
Oh, cute.
Why are you like that, Puck? Why? Why are you
Hold on,
torturing us?
See if I can show you guys. I don't know if he'll stick around, but I'll try. I'll try my best.
He is showing his best puppy dog eyes today. Like,
He's
yes.
just...
Look at that! Fucking look at that! I'm going to die! Die! It's adorable.
Ah,
It's
yes, you're
fucking
very
adorable.
cute. Ah.
He knew today was Dumb Fact Friday, so that's why he's doing that. Everyone.
Oh, why are you being so cute? I have to go to work. I have to do my job.
Cutie!
This is why nothing gets done. This is why nothing gets done.
This monster.
Oh god.
This fucking cutie pie. This
Unbelievable.
Cute creature on this planet.
Unbelievable, this man.
This guy is unfucking believable.
Unbelievable. Oh.
Damn. Boy.
Listen, we need the this is the copium. This is to help us to survive
Yes.
the stupidity. Right, buddy?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
fucking stupid. Yeah. It's been a torture. Looking at stupid.
Yeah.
God.
It's always is Puck the trigger warning? Trigger warning, Puck's here. Too cute.
Yep. Yeah,
Might
he's the support animal today.
Yeah. Actually, one of the reasons he's probably still in here is because the door is still open. I'm gonna close it, and now he's gonna be like, let me out. How dare you? How dare you do this to me?
How dare you? Hello.
Welcome back to Dumb Fact Friday. Dumb Fact Friday. Dumb Fact Friday.
It's going to be fun.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Dumb Fact Friday. We are here, and Puck's being cute today. Like he is every day.
Look at that fucking face. Ah!
I hope everybody's had a good
Save
week.
me.
I had a decent week. I drew probably 50 plus goblins in 2 days.
Did you now? Oh my goodness.
For the video yesterday, because I did it and then I realized that I didn't really like it. Like, I wasn't happy with it. So I did it again.
Of course.
Sometimes it takes more than one try.
Yeah, how dare you be happy?
How dare you
About
be
something.
is. How are you doing, Monty? How's your week?
I just put it in the live chat. I'm running on 3-4 hours of sleep since last 2 days. Judge me. So, if you see me
Poor
bouncing off the walls and you're thinking maybe she's getting eccentric, yeah, that's the reason why. So
Maybe a
judge
little
me.
bit.
I don't care. Yeah,
At me,
Chesh
bro.
kinda. Yeah, Chesh experienced that last night when we were talking. She was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I don't know." I was like, so yeah, I showed myself out of the conversation before I said anything stupid.
It's okay. It would have just been me. What's the worst that could happen? Saying stupid things in front of me is never known to bite somebody in the ass. No!
Nah!
Not even once.
Oh god.
Alright,
not even
so...
once, not even twice, maybe thrice, yes.
Not even literally this entire show.
See?
I don't know what you're talking about.
See? see what's happening here? Yeah. This is when I'm not sleeping well. Yeah. All right. Let's do this.
So I had a video that came
And-
out yesterday that I hope you guys had time to enjoy. It's not a super long video, and it is very a bing bang boom. It doesn't actually explain much. Right? That video doesn't actually like sit down and explain like why the things that are brought up are conspiracy theories, what about them makes them conspiracy theories, what about these particular things are right or wrong, or like laughably right or wrong, right? Like it doesn't go into that because it's kind of assuming that you good people out there have two brain cells that you can rub together. And now that is not to say whether or not you choose to fly on a plane, because planes can be dangerous, or whether or not your fears about vaccines are valid or not. The way you feel about it, that's valid. That's totally
It's
fine.
valid. Feelings are valid. It's how you channel them and how you dump them on others. Like, don't be like me. What I did yesterday, especially.
Your reasonable concerns should not lead you down a path of just being taken advantage of by bullshit misinformation. I believe the old school term for it was bullshit mountain.
Yes, I do remember that term.
Yeah, bullshit mountain. So I think we're going to spend a little bit of time today climbing up bullshit mountain and taking a look, maybe excavating a couple kernels.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I actually kind of sat back and watched like Chesh's video properly, and I went through all the posts that Chesh was bringing up, and I went and looked for all the people making that post or the accounts making that post, and I'm just like, how does anyone end up there? How does anyone end up there? Yeah, okay, like Chesh said, you can have reasonable expectations or reasonable doubts about something, right? But
doubts and concerns and fears are all fair, valid, reasonable. I would never begrudge a mother for being concerned about a vaccine that they don't understand or they don't really know much about or they feel has been rushed out, at being concerned for their kid. Right? You should be concerned about those things. You shouldn't inherently trust whatever the government says. You shouldn't inherently trust anything that anybody says. There's a ways to navigate and discern that. It doesn't mean that you have to live in constant fear or in this bubble that is ostensibly going to like ruin your life in the long term.
Yeah. But still, I was just like, how can some like a reasonable person should not end up in that pit.
Well, and how do you take these reasonable things and not have them turn into unreasonable behavior, right? Yes. There's like your reasonable fears, your reasonable concerns. You're like, I don't want my kid to be on the internet ever because there are too many predators on the internet. Well, you can't keep your kid off the internet forever. They're just going to end up on the internet unmonitored. So how do you manage your personal concerns and then navigate that? I understand an adult woman who's being taken advantage, whose reasonable concerns are being fear-mongered and taken advantage of by political punditry, right? Like against trans people, for example. Because the fear of trans people isn't a fear of trans people, it's a fear of assault.
Men.
And for the most part of men, yeah, exactly. And so, like, that your fear is... Yeah, your fear and concern for your safety is valid, but where that fear is stemming from and who's taking advantage of that fear and why, and, like, driving you in this unhealthy direction into, like, hatred of this group of people who have done nothing to you is not... That's not a reasonable reaction or a reasonable behavior, even if your feelings are valid. If that makes sense. I'm assuming what I said made sense.
It does.
Thanks.
This is all about like how you, and especially like in today's day and age where so much information plus misinformation is also available.
Yes, it's a lot.
It's very easy to validate your biases.
It's very easy to also like get emotionally led down, like the algorithm, like the YouTube, the Twitter, the Google
Great
algorithm will guide you down what you're looking at, and sometimes very, very, if you don't understand how it works, or if you don't understand that it even is a thing that is working, will make you view something as way more than it actually is, or make you view something in a way that's not, maybe not the most accurate. So, like, the way things, like, blow up on Twitter, and everybody's like, yeah, see, nobody liked this movie. I think Ghostbusters is one that's kind of making the rounds right now. People are like, yeah, only people on Twitter who were pissy about this movie actually didn't like it. If you go and look at, like, the score ratings, and you go and, like, talk to somebody who's watched the movie just, like, on the street, they're like, yeah, it was good, it was fun, it was alright. Like, the outrage farming.
I think so on, the Ghostbusters on Rotten Tomatoes got a certain rating, and people didn't believe that it got a certain rating, if I'm not wrong. Hold on,
like that.
Yeah, let me just check what was there. Yeah. The thing is that, man, there's already too much stress in your life. Don't add more to it by, like, getting... Yeah, you're passionate about something. I get
rage baiting.
You'll have a hobby. Yeah, like, don't fall for rage baiting, man. Don't. It's
very easy.
It's a tactic it's a tactic to what do you say? Monetize your attention and your rage, and it's just gonna give someone else.
It's monetizing your emotional energy. Your spoons.
Yeah.
How many spoons you got? I'm just not gonna. Fuck it. Alright, so do you want to dive into, because Manya here is an engineer.
I'm not ready.
Manya knows what she's talking about in that regard when it comes to things like that involve engineering. What? Imagine.
Oh my god.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I thought I would take advantage that she was here and show you guys this particular tweet got me hooked. I am so here for it. So let's grab chat real quick.
Harp? Is it Harp?
Is it what?
Or is it Harp, or is it the vaccine one? Which one is it?
Which one could it be? Take your guess and see. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-dee.
Yes, of course.
I'm gonna start with this one. Yeah, oh yeah, we're gonna blow something. Alright. What is wrong with me?
Welcome to Dumb Fact Friday, people. Welcome to Dumb Fact Friday.
I did sleep. I don't know what my problem is.
My eccentricness is, like, transferring to you via the radio waves. Chesh, we are being mind controlled by our respective governments like puppets.
Thank you very much. Welcome. By the way, we are live on Twitch and on YouTube, so you're welcome to join us respectively. There are different benefits for being on either or, particularly in the emojis category. There are definitely some good ones. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the emojis to bounce around and how to get, like, I'm still working on some stuff. This whole court shit sidelined like 2 months of my time. so things are going a little bit slower this year than I thought, but that is perfectly okay. Thank you very much. We've got somebody who's joining us just on Twitch for the first time. I love pretty ladies. Welcome.
Nice, thanks.
So.
Yes, Chesh. How can I assist you today?
So Madia knows what she's talking about, so I figured she'd be a good person to come on and maybe talk. You're not an expert in weather patterns, and I'd love to have Maddie from Science Side Up come and chat with me, and maybe chat with this person if we can get them to come on, because I want to send them an email, because this is, like, top tier content. Top tier garbage. I only provide the best garbage. Are you whining? Are you whining because you put your ball on the floor?
Oh god, look at him, like, just staring at you. Excuse me. Yes. That's all he's doing. You're like, I'm not getting up, but I'll stare at you till you feel my gaze burning into the back of your head and get my ball for me.
Actually, special thanks to Athens, because Athens was the one who sent him this ball. He sent me a box of tennis balls, so he's got... That's what he's playing with right now. Happy birthday, Puck. You're old.
Yes.
Alright, so let's get into this. I'm
for
gonna
it.
read this out real quick, and then we're gonna go to his channel, and then I'm gonna let Manya
I'm
kind of
gonna
pick it
mute
apart a little bit.
myself. I'm gonna mute myself before I start like raging at it. So here.
Okay, Puck's ready to go. I figured you wouldn't stay too long, buddy. Thanks for coming. Thanks for visiting. Don't forget your ball. Alright. Let's get started on the actual show. Massive HAARP space lasers frequency waves over the Gulf of Mexico. This morning's man-made electrical storms, toxic chemtrails, space lasers weather report from the real fisherman. Massive frequency waves or lasers may be causing new electrical storms in the Atlantic Ocean today. We must keep it up, warriors. These chemtrail operations are so large now it is undeniable what is going on. Want to welcome all the new warriors to our platform. I have spent hours searching for you all, sharing my videos and message to platforms all over Twitter looking for the warriors that still care about this planet. We have shown unbelievable evidence of their technologies in all of our videos they used to create these storms, the chemtrails sprayed in our atmosphere, and how toxic is. How it's destroying all life, from the ocean to the birds to the bugs. We must put down the hypnosis devices mad scientists have created for us to be deceived, divided, and distracted. We have no choice. We must unite and fight these lunatics that are controlling every aspect of our lives. Commercial fishermen standing by, we must realize we are under hypnosis. Our uniformed personnel must stand with the people, not the corporate government we have today. Real fishing life is now accepting donations from the warriors that can afford to help. The wheels on this truth train a rollin'. Even a $1 donation can make a difference. And I would like to point out to you, becoming a member of the channel on YouTube costs $1. So help support spread the message of space lasers by becoming a member for like $1.99. I think it's like $1.99 Canadian too, so I don't even think it's like a full American dollar. Listen, I'm cheap. What do you want from me? All right, Manya. What do you think of the tweet, the initial presentation?
So let's so what I've done is for the live chat, I've put in the link to the website that that's from the University of Alaska, which talks about what HARP is. So starting with the basics, like just the basics. What is HARP? Like, it's an acronym for the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. This thing, I made a presentation on it in my first semester of Bachelor's of Engineering back home.
See, I told you she would know what she's talking about. I didn't know that beforehand. I didn't plan this.
Nope. I was like, yeah, but we should talk about it. I didn't tell Shesh why. I was like, let's talk about that. So, it's to study the ionosphere. That's what it does. And sends very narrow radio beams into the ionosphere and tries to work on really, really small areas of the ionosphere to see how ionosphere changes to radio beams or electrical currents and yada, yada, yada. That's where this whole misunderstanding of electrical, like, storms have come up. They're just blowing it up to make it seem bigger than it is. This program has been part of many conspiracy theories, of course, right here. The weather stuff or the lasers and massive frequency waves. No, it's not a massive frequency wave. It's not. So it's just a narrow radio wave that's beamed into the ionosphere in one certain area just to see the effects, and that's it. And you can use that link to go and see what HARP does and what are the levels that they use of energy to make it work. And yes, there's no when I did this, I actually almost bought into the controversies at that time. How funny. At the start of my bachelor's, I almost bought into it, but then because I had to follow the academic research standards to prove my, whatever I was thinking about it, I kind of realized there's not anything backing my, biases up. And the same thing is happening in this post. You see, there are 2 links in there, but we did check out the 2 links, didn't we, Tesh? And they just lead to this person's channel. And in their description also, there are no links, and they're just showing random areas and pictures of somewhere and just talk. So you can see how they have not provided any proper links for their biases. So that's the thing is.
You're saying that they're not sharing any, like, academic resources.
No.
They're not sharing any, like,
No.
Okay, well, your standards are way too high. You gotta cut that shit out right now.
Yeah. So this project has been funded by the Naval Research and the Air Force Research.
To be clear, though, that means that
laboratory.
To be clear, though, that does mean that the space laser that they're talking about is in fact government funded. Like, they're right about that.
Don't do that.
But he's right.
Well, yes, it's government funded, but it's not space lasers. Stop.
Okay, but the HAARP and that research facility and what it does is in fact government funded.
Yes, it is government.
Okay, thanks. I just want to be clear. We got to give this guy points anywhere we can give them to him. All right.
Yeah.
We're working hard. We want the truth, and that is in fact the truth. It is. There are programs that study things that are funded by the government. Yes.
Yeah, get over it. You have vaccines that saved the populations back then because there are programs funded by government. Like, you can question them if you want to, but don't go this deep in. So I did do a little refresher last night about it because I was like,
Sure.
This was 15 years ago. So in my first semester of bachelor's. So one, it's very low energy program. The energy is very low. That is beamed into the ionosphere in very, very small areas. And number 2, once it's stopped, it dissipates quite quickly. The energy that whatever is generated from it is dissipated quite quickly. So to say that it might create weather storms or electrical storms or can be used as a laser beam, I don't know. There might be potential. We don't know, but we don't know. For all the claims made in this tweet, there are no sources out there. There might be websites or blogs that are conspiracy theorists or that promote conspiracy theories, but not in the scientific community, I'm afraid. No. So cutting it right there, there's nothing to fear about it. You can question it. I've given you the website. If you want to go and send them an email and ask for more information, you can. But Wikipedia is there, and you go on the website itself, you will find a lot. You'll find a lot of information that will educate you. The funny thing is, this website is available, right, from the University of Alaska. This dude doesn't provide that link for some reason.
Well, let's see his channel before we get too deep. Let's see what this guy has to say, because I'm here for this. I already like this guy.
You do?
Good morning, freedom fighters. It is March 1st, 2024. I'm making a new genocide video. Please watch it. This is one of the most important videos, most likely on the internet, and it is the most shadow banned videos of all topics. Besides,
well, I found it, so.
Genocide video?
Yep.
Genocide?
The title of the video. The title of the video says, "The next hour genocide is here. I'm sorry, but we have no choice. We must fight now." The call to action is a little concerning. Call to action's a little concerning.
Yeah, especially to our not our America's uniformed people. Yeah, you're asking soldiers to commit treason.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. He says we haven't gotten that far yet. We'll see. Don't jump the gun. We don't know what genocide he's talking about. There's so many of those going on right now.
I'm gonna mute myself again before I start raging here.
All right.
Chemtrails, they do not want you to see the death they are creating. I didn't know where to start because we are losing all trees. I'm going to go over trees, insects, birds, then my life as a fisherman that I've lost as well at the end here. Please stand by for the video. It's very, very important, way more important than any of the distractions they have y'all listening or watching, like games of any kind.
You know, that's very sad. It sounds like this is somebody who had a job and worked in like the fishing industry, and because the fishing industry has gone in the direction that it has due to various socioeconomic as well as climate change issues, that this person has in fact lost their job. However, it is awfully convenient that the most important thing that matters the most happens to be the thing that affects you directly. So that's awfully convenient.
Then you start caring. And then you start caring, right?
I don't know.
And also, like, no hard feelings, dude. I get it. The first thing is, like okay, yes, it's very, very unfortunate that you have lost your way of living or way of income, your work. And being a fisherman is not easy. It's not.
No, it's not. That is a job.
But to blame a government-funded program, and not accept the climate change, the science behind the climate change is kind of very, very disappointing, right? You want to accept science, but you're accepting it in a very, very different way. It's not scientific, my man. It's not.
Well, we haven't gotten to the science yet, but I am a fan of birds aren't real. Everyone knows this. Birds are fake. Remember?
Oh my God, Tesh, why would you do that to our audience? Why did you just?
I didn't do that. The audience did that.
Oh, okay. You got us.
This is Drake, man. Oh, this is right there. It is unfortunate that, and there are issues with farming, and there are problems with people losing their jobs, and there are issues with like making that transition from like automated work, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not going to begrudge somebody who's having a very bad time or somebody who's lost their way of life. That sucks, and there should be things that are done about that, and there should be things and programs to ease that change over, or to help people go from point A to point B if a change is necessary, or even like making those things more feasible for day-to-day people. I absolutely agree with this. Chemtrails? Probably not the reason. Probably not. But let's keep going.
Yeah, it's
Or these ridiculous TV shows and arguments over politicians. I've been to D.C. They are all best of friends. They are all going to the same parties and colleges and schools activities. They are best of friends.
That's fair.
These politicians are not here for us, or they would be talking about these 8 million standing dead trees in Colorado, New Mexico. We are losing.
Why did that just look like a picture of winter? There's snow all over the ground.
Isn't he on Pinterest? What website is he on?
No, he's on Google, and it says mountains of dead trees.
Come on, man. Okay.
We should probably point out, because somebody pointed out that he sounds like a patriot. I'm Canadian, and she's from New Zealand. So, that's not gonna, But, maybe he'll get into explaining, like, where these trees are, how, like, what they're, because this is, like, old dead tree in mountain stock photo. So I don't, we'll see what he gets to.
On this planet. And I'm going to show it to you, but I want y'all to watch it. People are not watching 2 minutes of my videos. Florida here, we're losing our trees. North Carolina, losing all the beautiful trees. Not bugs, they're poison in it.
There's still stock photos.
Right,
he's looking at stock photos. Trees.
Mexico, Canada,
I would have been happy
Alaska.
if I would have been happy if they had presented any article from a research database, or even from a conspiracy theorist, blog or website. At least, like
Sure.
you could say, they tried to go on the internet and do some research. But by this, I'm concluding by looking at this is that they didn't go on internet. They have a bias. They have solidified that bias, and they're not providing any sources.
Well, I feel like there's
where
this
it
thing
has
going on that we've run into where we're partway into a 7-minute video and he seems to be espousing something he feels like he's already proven. So the problem is we need the video where we kind of get the introduction.
Yeah.
And so I mean, there's been such a push, like a very big push, over years, decades, to get more trees in cities and get more trees planted. Canada, in particular, does have an industry, a logging industry based in one of the biggest national parks in the world, called Algonquin Park, and it is farmed. So, but the farming rate, instead of being every season or every 2 seasons, is every 10, 50, 100 years. So what they do is they go into the park, they strip that one part of the park, they clean it up, they replant that part of the park, and then log it out, and then the next time they do the next one. And then by the time they've plotted it out, so that by the time they get back to that same spot again, like a considerably large amount of time has passed by, and you can go there. It is a gorgeous park. I've been backpacking in that park. It's amazing. It's gorgeous. It is dangerous because it is a wild national park.
Yeah, and also
there are
a lot
bears.
of big machines around. Bears, yeah. Plus, and if you go in the area where they're logging, a lot of big machineries do maybe not enter that area at all. New Zealand also has forestry industry, so that includes logging. And in my diploma, I have done a couple of assignments around looking into the the dangers, the risks and hazards surrounding the forestry industry, and how people working in that industry develop, any diseases over time if they do develop. So,
it's a very interesting kind of. I'm kind of interested in this account, like this person specifically, because I don't entirely disagree with most of what he has to say. Like, I don't disagree that there is a lot of mismanagement. I don't disagree that climate change and the over logging and overfishing and over the amount of waste, the amount of wasted food and like garbage and stuff. Like, I agree with these things are problem, but we seem to have come to very different conclusions about what the cause of these problems are.
Exactly.
But I would be curious to know what the solution is, because like even if we disagree about the cause, that could be problematic about finding a solution, because if you don't agree with what the cause is, then you're going to have problems. But
you're right.
Maybe, but that's not inherently the case. So if we both agree that the problem can be fixed by the government changing, is there a way that me as an individual could potentially agree with this person that these are problems, we disagree where these problems are coming from, but we both agree that the government needs to change what it's doing. So what does this person think the government should be doing, regardless of what he thinks that they are doing?
I think so, and plus it would be good to know, okay, you have questions about certain things, about certain projects of governments. Where can you send your queries to
in the 20th century?
Answers.
Right. Sorry, that was his video. Yeah.
That would be because then you are providing genuine information to people, and then people can go and send their own emails or mails and stuff, and get replies and come to their own conclusion. And also, adding on to that, Harp, it doesn't cause chemtrails. Chemtrails is just okay. We have always seen chemtrails behind some sort of like airplane or something flying in the air. Let's say airplane. So
Zeppelins.
Chemtrails are just like the exhaust fumes that have been like cooled down and they crystallize, and that happens at certain height under certain atmospheric conditions. That's all it is.
let's take a
all it
look
is, the
at
exhaust.
Let's take a look at one of his chemtrail specific videos, because this one says heavy chemtrails, Gulf of Alaska, North Pacific Ocean, California, Oregon, Washington, and more. Extremely heavy chemtrails, and he just kind of repeats himself, and then is just like, this is the tweet that he put out. So let's look at this one. This video came out 14 hours ago.
Good afternoon, freedom fighters. It is 6:54 p.m. Alaska time, March 21st, 2024. May not have been any chemtrails this morning in southeast Alaska, but Gulf of Alaska is heavily chemtrailed at this moment. This is live. We're still very much in daylight here in Alaska. But I want to go over the last 12 hours down south. This incredible Harp waves, frequency waves, I guess you call it. And I can see lasers, lightning storms in the Gulf of Mexico. But heavy concentration of chemtrails. Whoops, sorry guys. Where there are usually not very many aircraft.
So he's saying that these right here, these sweeping clouds are chemtrails or being caused by Harp.
Yeah. Number one, how are you making the distinction between the chemtrails that you claim the Harp is producing and your regular clouds in the sky? I would love to know that. How are you making that distinction? On what basis have you come to the conclusion that they're chemtrails? If you're just going to say, well, they're straight because they're quite straight, from what regular cloud pattern I see, then I will say I'll need more than that, because there will be some sort of like chemical difference there between chemtrails according to you and the cloud. Or are you saying that if they're same, if you're saying chemtrails and clouds are same, you are almost right, but it causing electrical storms or they being caused by Harp, that's where you go wrong. So,
well, I'm also curious as to, because he said something a little bit more extreme as well, is lightning storms, and I'm not sure where he's looking, but let's watch a little bit more and see what we get.
There are usually not very many aircraft, as I showed this morning in my videos. We don't have much aircraft up here. It's just spray operations. You can see a brand new one right there. If I could take this camera out there, I could show you them in the sky right here. I'm right here. Very distinct. I'm going to stand by that. I want to show you what's going on down south. Incredible Harp frequency waves today. Okay, we're going to start out at 12:30 p.m. Alaska time today here in California. Very heavy.
So yeah, there are some patterns that we can see. That's fine. But I'm just he keeps saying that high frequency, very high frequency, yada yada yada. I want to know what instrument did they use to make that measurement. I would like to know what instrument, or even if they're claiming that this application that they're using, I want to know what instrument they're using. Is there anywhere that says that?
It looks like satellite imagery. It's something called Wind. It looks like windy.com.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would like to know what instrument are they being measured from that you came to the conclusion that they're high frequency, and what frequency band are you bandwidth you're talking about? I would love to know that too. Maybe they will come up with that. But those are the questions my brain is going towards straight up. So yeah, let's continue.
Chemtrail, very distinct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a dozen lines. They were not there earlier that morning, and then they were. We'll put it into motion here. I moved it so I had to reload it. Very distinct when they started these operations right there. Heavy chemtrailing in California this evening. Very, very heavy, man. I feel sorry for everybody. They're poisoning us. Look what they did just a matter of hours in California.
One thing is certain. This person cares. This person cares. So that's like, I will give them that. And I think so because they have suffered loss. So they care, and they care about everyone else. So, but the way you're going about this, buddy. We can debate on that. Oh yeah.
I don't think that I feel like you're not really doing anybody any favors. It's one of that kind of scenario where it's like the
Yeah, adding
misinformation
more-
you're putting out is going to be more problematic than it is actually going to be helpful to people. But yeah, it's one of those like, how are you defining? How are you being like? If it's just a
Measuring.
straight line looking cloud, does that inherently mean that it is a chemtrail? Right?
Yeah.
And that's not how that works. Clouds
Yeah.
can be straight. Wind happens.
Yes.
You're looking at a site
Yes.
called windy.com.
Yeah.
Completely
also,
wide
the
out.
Chemtrails that they're talking about are actually called contrails.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what they're called.
Yes.
Contrails. Conning. So yeah, so that's what they're called actually.
Condension
So, yeah.
trail or vapor trail.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, what instrument you're using, buddy? I would love to know that. But because you're a fisherman, I know you know about instruments and measurement.
Oh, yeah.
Measurement instruments. So yeah, you might have something. So I would like. It would be wonderful to know what you.
Well, there's one other thing that you should be able to tell because there should be ways to measure what's actually in the atmosphere, right? So if it is a
Yes.
contrail or a chemtrail, or if there's something is being put into the atmosphere, it should be traceable, it should be trackable,
Yes.
utilizing instrumentation. But I mean,
Yes.
you'd have to actually go there and do that. And it's in his defense, if he's in Alaska, you're going to have a hard time getting all the way to California to do that test. But he did
But
say they
then-
were happening right outside of his door, so.
Yeah, so maybe showing that and then
Mhm,
showing how he came to the conclusion, how he got the measurements, that would have been more convincing or even a good start. But yeah, going to another area altogether, a coastline where you will see a lot of cloud movement by default. So yeah. So it's yeah, he's trying. I don't know if if this is a sincere effort or not, or this is just a means to like create
Honest
paranoia
until
in the-
proven otherwise. We will take him at his word that he's honest and he cares until proven to be a Poe.
That's completely man-made. Not one bit of that's natural.
But it's
I
going
feel
the opposite
bad
way.
for the weathermen. Did they sign on for this? Did they realize that they were going to be
He's
lying
going
to
back
the
and forth
public
on
their
the
whole
spider.
entire career? Totally
That's what
man-made
he's doing.
cloud.
If you look back and forth on the
Every-
spider, so that's why.
Every weatherman is signed on, like, is on board for this.
On board for what? Sorry, I
They're
missed that,
lying to
actually.
everybody. Apparently all the weathermen know what's going on.
Oh,
I'm assuming he
Now-
means meteorologists.
yeah. Now, you shouldn't have done that. That's not putting a target on the weather people who do the weather forecasts. That's not fair. That is not fair. They are just doing their job and they're just using their knowledge to know to educate people and give out information as much as they can so that people can take precautions if something's coming, such as cyclones. Have you seen them go on this okay, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. That puts a target on them, and if someone gets hurt from that community, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. Don't do
All
that.
the
Monty's very
formations
strict.
over California today. That was very distinct. Stand by, I got more to show. Okay, warriors. I've been
Thermal.
playing with this storm here.
Where are
So
we?
yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 distinct lines, maybe more. There's some hint of it. That's just where it steams the atmosphere. Where these lasers set off this light. Those scientists said it, not me.
Which
They
scientists?
said they
Where?
have trillion-watt lasers that they light these storms up with, and all I see is vapor from it. You can't see the light unless you got special glasses or filters.
It's almost as if there's nothing else there,
But
dude.
in my opinion,
Just
I-
cloud vapors. That's it.
uniform lines are not formed in nature. These
And again,
Yes, they are.
instrument-
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
You
Uniform lines.
underestimate
Yeah, uniform lines form in nature all the time.
okay. I think so. Now this is a Poe because they claim to be a fisherman, and fishermen know cloud patterns. They do know their cloud patterns. That's impossible. They might not know how to name them, but they know what different type of cloud patterns are there. Yeah, this is a Poe. This is fucking straight up Poe. And I'm just like
Tell
looking at you.
Elmo. Oh, Manya gave up already. Manya, you only watched like
Yeah,
4 minutes of this guy.
Listen, I came here to help. Do you want my help?
These
You
are
want
from
my
the
help?
satellites.
I'll give it to you.
See how it
This is how I
dissipates as
give.
soon as they got the storm going? There was a glitch there also where there's just no more satellite. But very distinct when they set them off. I can't go back any farther because this is 7 a.m. Alaska time and it's 12 hours ago. It's 7:05 a.m. here. I mean p.m. in Alaska. And it's let's see.
Oh, there's Houston. Okay, so this is Texas.
11 p.m.
This is the Gulf of Mexico.
Florida, where I usually am.
I think.
We still have very much daylight here. It's been dark in Florida. Excuse me.
Time zones, yes. The Earth is round.
See what it looks like.
Time
Look
exists.
around.
Yeah, time zones exist. Yeah.
Same thing in this storm. You see uniform blast through the storm here. To me, I mean that's
Energy
Okay, so
going out from a point.
At least he's saying my opinion. In the
Yeah,
end.
fair. Yeah, fair.
So-
At
so-
least he's saying
but-
that.
But I think so when you come to like science and making such big fantastical claims, you can't go by opinion, man. You just can't. You need to give me something that I can. Yes, you did give me something to look into, but that's not what you look into if you want to talk about the topics you're talking about. So this is a Poe. In my opinion, looking at what I saw, this is a Poe. And maybe they're not a fisherman at all. So yeah. Maybe, in my personal.
I'm very bad at telling if somebody is a Poe or not because I've just run into so many people who are legitimately that dumb. Like that's like that level of stupid that a Poe would be. Like that are honest people that are actually, they just don't get it. A lot of the flat earthers I've ever spoken to always seem to have like a consistent problem with scale. And like geometric scale. So like they understand a basketball, but they do not understand a planet. Like that the sizing scale is something that I've always found.
And how that curvature and how relative the curvature is and what it
right. Like that they just struggle with scale.
And how
but I don't know. I'd be willing to talk to that guy. Absolutely. If you want his channel, by the way, I put a link. If you want to go check him out or see more of his stuff, feel free.
Yeah. Don't harass them. Just check out their channel. Have a look. Yeah. And if they want to have a chat, we like Chess said, she is open to having a chat with him.
Yeah, I'm gonna email him.
No.
Manya wouldn't be able to handle it.
I'm just gonna. No.
Well, I'd probably ask Maddie, right? I'd ask Maddie to come on and talk to him. You know, a meteorologist. And so, meteorologist exposed by real fishermen.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, next one we got is vaccines. So I figured it'd be a good idea to move on to vaccines when we were ready. Because, like, that's a pretty big topic. And it's a pretty poignant topic. So,
for so many years, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this.
So this is from MJ Truth Ultra. Watchdog researcher. Don't worry about it. It's fine. But they basically point formed this video that was on Rumble, which is Fox 35 News. So I don't really care about most of this stuff, but we're gonna jump into this.
No.
It's okay. It's only 4 minutes, Manya. 5 minutes, Manya. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Where's Puck? Oh God, where's my fucking stress ball? Damn it, I don't have it here. Okay. I'm gonna hold my desk for support. Let's do it.
Florida's Surgeon General says for us to stop getting the COVID vaccine.
Fox 35's Hannah McKenzie is joining us live in the Alert Center tonight. So, Hannah, he says what's in the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines is a problem.
Yeah, Luann, Florida Surgeon General Dr. Latipo says he has safety concerns pertaining to the discovery of billions of DNA fragments found.
Who is this doctor?
So, this doctor, so I did do a research on them, sorry, but to start from, they have not worked with COVID patients as they claim, and their colleagues are not happy with him and disappointed in them. Just to say, yes. And also this DNA stuff. Yeah, if they're a surgeon, they know better. They know fucking better, and they're just fear mongering now. To be skeptical, I can take that, but to fearmonger and talk like such dipshit, like shit, is totally unacceptable.
How do you feel about vaccines having DNA in them?
So vaccines don't have DNA in them. They have mRNA, ribonucleic acid, or certain type of ribonucleic acid. That transfer information, DNA information, it itself is not DNA. It's different. And
what is that? What is ribonuclear?
So it spikes your body to produce a certain type of protein that mimics the virus that you might get infected with, in a very, very small dosage, so that it kickstarts the immunity process in your body. That's all it does. That's it.
So what would a fragment of DNA look like? What would that even mean? And we got a super chat. We got a super chat from Jack that says, "I think there's a Poe, then I think there's Poe, then there's those who are so self-convinced that something they fear is a reality that they don't analyze what they are assuming to be real." Yep, that's a thing that can happen, for sure.
Yeah. So, I don't know what would that mean. Are they looking at a string of the DNA? A particular part? I don't know what they mean by fragments of DNA. And also, this surgeon, I'm going back to my notes, they immigrated to the United States from Nigeria. And they do have a good background, so this is unacceptable. They have an MD and a PhD in health policy from Harvard University. So this is unacceptable. And they're also Florida's, they were, I think so, Florida's, no, they are, sorry, my bad. They are Florida's Surgeon General.
Is it bias of me to say, yeah, but they're DeSantis government, so I don't care what they say? I think that's a bit of a little bit of a fallacy, a genetic fallacy, to be like, yeah, but you got hired by DeSantis. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, dude, you need to start thinking. The thing is that yes,
I think it contextually matters, but you can't go as far as what I'm saying. You could contextually say that, okay, this is Florida and this is DeSantis government, so with that context,
not known to hire
great assault,
scientifically accurate people. So so to add to that, that fucking quagmire that's already out there around vaccines, that is absolutely unacceptable on my part, because they have also served as a professor of medicine at New York University, so they have no excuse to do this. And now I'm not trying to put a target on them. I'm just questioning, why, bro? Just as a fellow research colleague, maybe I'm not at that level.
I don't think saying somebody directly is misrepresenting a thing, like this person is directly doing this thing and here's why, is putting a target on somebody. When you call to action and be like, we the people need to do something about this, you warriors out there, that starts to get into very dangerous rhetorical language, and that's how you get things like insurrections.
Per dose in the Pfizer and Moderna COVID vaccines. And he says those concerns have not been addressed by the FDA or the CDC. Dr. Ladapo says if the risks of DNA integration with COVID vaccines cannot be addressed, then the vaccines aren't appropriate for use in humans. He says he sent letters to the heads of the FDA and the CDC specifically questioning how this would impact humans in 3 main areas: healthy human genes being transformed into cancerous cells, chromosomal instability, and how the integration could affect unintended parts of the body, such as the heart, brain, lungs, even the injection site itself. We asked...
I don't know what any of those words mean.
Yes. Sir,
I
what do
don't
you mean by
I don't know how
integrated
billions of DNA is going to equate to this thing.
That's very primitive language. That is not scientific or technical. So yeah, so what do they mean by integrated DNA? Integration of DNA. And yeah, so what they're talking about is the cancer, that these vaccines might kickstart cancer, and they are talking about chromosomal instability, which is basically the same thing. You can say it's basically the same thing.
Okay.
So but goes a different way around. So the thing is that okay, you have written a letter. Have you done some kind of research? Have you done a research on a certain sample size of people to see if your whatever you are stating is correct? And I would really love to know how you're defining what, especially integrated DNA. It's what do you mean
what does
by
that mean?
Because another person, your colleague, might take it differently, and you might be thinking about and describing something different entirely. Is it possible that we could get a copy of his letter? Maybe that would be great, but
well, he's writing a letter to the FDA, right? And again, this is an American thing. I don't. This is here's the thing. You're reporting on a written letter complaint made by the Florida Surgeon General to the FDA on a product that the FDA has already put forward. Not a research paper that has said this is a thing that's happening, right? But they're presenting it as if this is a thing that is happening.
Which is very dishonest.
That's a bit of the problem here. This is being presented as if, oh my god, the vaccines are causing these things or are going to cause these things. So this guy wrote a letter of concern because these things are related, but that's not really what's happening. The dude wrote a bitch letter being like, this thing though, and the CDC is gonna look at it and be like, this doesn't make any sense, and they're gonna throw it in the trash. They're going to use it as fuel for the Bunsen burners.
Unless they have included some kind of research papers or research exercises, or some papers covering research exercises around what they are claiming. Maybe they have provided those links in that letter, but so far we have not seen anything, because if they had, I think so, Fox News would have actually put that up on the screen.
Well, particularly since it says at the bottom, State Surgeon General calling for halt of COVID-19 vaccinations.
That's absolutely that's so dangerous.
You can't call a halt to a thing that is ostensibly doing its job because you think that may be a thing. That you're also misrepresenting in your initial premise by saying billions of fragments of DNA. No.
Yeah.
No.
Let's see, maybe Fox News tells us what integrated DNA means, or what he is describing as.
Fox 35 News specifically.
Okay.
A local doctor, Michael Sparks, to weigh in. Dr. Sparks telling us with the state surgeon general saying one thing and the FDA another, health providers are left stuck in the middle.
New things are scary. If we look back historically, we've introduced new medications that we were told were very safe, were going to be very effective, and they turned out not to be safe or effective, and they caused a lot of birth defects, things like that. So it's not...
Such as?
The thing is that...
That's very vague.
That's very vague. I don't blame them. Give me a second here. Because it's coming from someone who is a position of authority, a surgeon general. That's that position matters. So if someone in that position starts talking like this, it's obvious that people will start doubting, or they will say, what should we do now? But my thing is, follow the FDA guidelines. Just follow the FDA guidelines. Do not listen to people who are coming from outside, who are trying to bring in influence from outside rather than being part of the process. You know what I mean? If they were part of the process where already a study was going on, and because of that, they said, please halt the vaccines for now. Let's do the study and see what happens. That would have been fair. This is not fair, and this is what it's resulting in: people doubting, and yeah, because it's coming from someone who is a Surgeon General. It's
Hi, Helios.
so unfair.
Sorry, I'm laughing at what Drake said. I'll read it out loud in a sentence in a second.
Yeah, go for it.
Leela had said, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. It makes a good point. It says, so they're taking one speck of truth and adding 999 specks of lies. Yeah. And like I get this guy's complaint, right? His complaint of being a doctor in Florida has got to be frustrating because the people in Florida are getting confused because you've got somebody in a position of power who's supposed to be knowing what they're talking about bullshitting to them with like fucking sci-fi garbo like jargon, and then the FDA being like not even caring to to even address it because it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, we're like, bruh.
And Drake said real quick is, I got vaccinated and now I can read people's minds. Listen, we don't accept any readies here. You get out of here. No readies.
Get out of here. Yeah. Go away.
We don't take kindly to your type.
Go away.
But yeah, I do not like when the news or people present this very specifically vague thing. Oh, there's been things in the past that they have told us has been fine, but actually later down the line turns out caused lots of different developmental or like birth defects. That you're scaring people. That's scary. Having it be wanting to have a child and then having a birth defect in your child that can be very expensive, especially in America, even if they do survive, and very expensive throughout their life depending on what the defect is, because America hates its people and doesn't want anybody to be allowed to. Apparently, walking isn't a human fucking right, or like getting around because you're in a wheelchair. Go fuck yourself, right? Like it's not.
Let us maybe go with modification before the Karens and the Kens start coming in and go yeah, your child is born with a genetic modification which will cost you your time, money, emotions, labor.
Well, this guy explicitly called it this medical professional explicitly called it a birth defect. Right, it's like
okay.
Right, he's explicitly he's explicitly calling it this to scare people, and it's like, but he's being non-specific. He's not saying what the defects were, what the thing was that they told us was safe, who was saying that it was safe, because he's saying initially that they're getting two pieces of information. So is the FDA the one giving you not good information? And are they giving you the misinformation on purpose, or were they just wrong about something? And they're applying this to the COVID vaccine and all this billions of fragments of DNA. And so, like, the way this narrative is being built off of very specifically vague information. And I'm not going to sit here and say that the U.S. people haven't had things thrust upon them in the past that have ended up not working out in their favor. Microplastics being a thing, Super Size Me being a thing, like the hairspray stuff that was putting a hole in the ozone, all that shit. Like, there are things that happen and then things that we do that we fuck up and are like, oh shit. And sometimes that kills people. And yeah, there's a difference between we don't know any better and we're not going to do this thing that saves people because we're too afraid to do anything.
Yeah. There have been vaccines before and they have done the job. India became polio free because of that. I'll just give you one example. So I don't know if it's come back because of the same fear mongering, but yeah. It did become polio free once when the vaccines were put out. So yeah, and my brother got some. I didn't get it because it was for certain age group. So like for under certain age group, and I had passed that group, so I couldn't get it. My brother got it.
Sure.
So yeah, it worked. Yeah.
In Canada, you're required to get your vaccine to go into school, and you are required to go to school. Unless there are ways you can get around homeschooling stuff, but but if you're going to go to school, whether it be public or private, you have to get your vaccines. Then you also have, and that's like what, between 5 and 6, depending on when you're going into school, like depending on when your birthday is. And then you get another set of shots in grade 7 into grade 8, so sometime around the age of 11 to 12, and that's like your hepatitis, yada, 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 that one. Then sometimes there's an update, like they'll do an updated one in high school. Sometimes, depending on where you are, when you are, what the last one was, if there was an advancement that was made. For Covfefe specifically, I got 2 jabs, and I haven't gotten another one since. And it's not because I don't like it or aren't interested in it. It's just because like I just didn't find it necessary. I also still, by the way, have not gotten COVID. I work at home. Yeah, I don't go anywhere.
I did. After going through quarantine, everything, blah 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 blah. 3 years after this bitch came.
You got COVID. You got a bunch of COVID.
Yeah, bunch of COVID. Yeah. So same as Chesh. I've got 2 doses, and I've not gone for the 3rd one. I have been offered one by my local GP. I've said, let's hold on to a bit, but that is purely because I don't have time. Purely based on that, or else I would go and get it done. So yeah, It doesn't take long anyways. But it's just like I don't have time, and I might have.
When I was on the plane going to Kansas, I wore my mask on the plane for the most part like in the airports, and I'm like, because I did that during COVID because it was a requirement, and then so when I did it this time, although it was not a requirement, I'm like, I'm keeping this. I kind of like this, makes me feel better, so I'm doing this for me, and so like there are times where I'll just wear it just because I want to. Because why are you gonna stop me? It's a free country. Do what I want.
I'm gonna be back.
But for transparency purposes. But let's see if this guy actually like goes into this. I don't like the way this is being presented, but we'll see. Maybe this guy will be more specific.
Unreasonable to be worried about things that are new, and that's where the
I agree with
comes
that.
into play. There have been so many millions of doses of this vaccine delivered, though, that if we were to expect to see some of these, theoretical problems, we should start seeing them. There have been so many millions of doses of this.
Duh! There he goes! If this vaccine was supposed to be problematic, then we have already been seeing this stuff. Good job! We aren't seeing this stuff, so if we're not seeing this stuff, why is it being presented this way? Is this poor doctor getting... You guys tell me, chat. Do you guys think this doctor is getting taken out of context? By the news? The news? Because I don't like the non-specifics, and this is something that like professionals need to be more on point with. Because he should have just been, there have been things in the past, such as this, in this context, that have been this, and if you're getting information, then therefore this, and it would take the same amount of time, right? It wouldn't, and yeah, let's see, let's let him keep going.
This vaccine delivered, though, that if we were to expect to see some of these, theoretical problems, we should start seeing them.
I'm Angus Dalgleish. I'm a professor of oncology at St George's.
Why did that cut, spin, and then play again? Did anybody else look what?
To expect to see some of these, theoretical problems, we should start seeing them.
I'm Angus Dalgleish. I'm a professor of oncology at St George's, a consultant medical oncologist. And I have started to notice that several of my patients have melanoma who've been stable with stage 4 disease. They've had very good immunotherapy or other treatments, and I've been reviewing them from 5 to 20 years. I've noticed that I have now over 6, possibly 7, even an 8th yesterday, who've clearly relapsed following the booster vaccine. At first, we didn't put the two together. But when patients said, I felt awful since the vaccine, I've just been drained, they described symptoms of like a long COVID. And the next thing we know, 2-3 weeks, a couple of months later, they've got clear evidence of relapse. And these relapses are quite aggressive.
This is also taking them out of context. Okay, sure, this particular COVID vaccine may cause problems among people who already are suffering from cancer or are undergoing the treatment for cancer. There might be a case there, and you can do a study there, but that doesn't mean that the regular people out there who don't have cancer are getting cancer because of it. No, we don't have any studies for that. it's good to be to observe what's happening amongst your patients and stuff. That is good. You're being a good doctor. I think so personally. This guy has been taken out of context here.
This doctor here now is talking about how he has these specific patients with a specific pre-existing condition that have reported that since getting this booster, they didn't feel well, and then a couple months later relapsed in their pre-existing condition, right? And he's saying that we think that it might be because of the booster. And he's calling for research on it, not something definitive yet. And again, neither of us are saying that there can't be or won't be potential vaccine problems in the future. What we're saying is fear mongering about it isn't good for anybody. It helps nothing. It helps nothing. No. It scares people. It causes more issues, and you shouldn't have to make shit up to do this, right? Things are scary enough.
Titan Uranus says something quite significant. Melanoma immunotherapy is a stopgap, not a cure, and the symptoms he describes are common in melanoma patients. Are you saying that after getting any vaccine, or like
I think what he's saying is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, what I think he's saying is that the immunotherapy, the people who have this are going to relapse eventually anyway. It's a stopgap. It's not a permanent cure. And so is it possible that the stopgap amount of time is shorter due to the COVID vaccine? Or is it possible that it the progress is faster, or if it's nothing and the relapse, or the relapse was inevitable regardless, and the COVID may or may not have had any effect whatsoever. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that's what they were saying. They did continue to say, that said, it is entirely possible that predisposition to melanoma or having the specific treatment might not affect the outcome of immunization. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Thanks.
Perfect.
Thanks, bud.
They're not a gentle relapse. They're relapses that are requiring systemic therapy, as opposed to a little nodule that requires surgical excision.
And so let's take a hypothetical here and say, all right, so let's pretend that this is directly caused by the COVID vaccine, right? So if you have the predisposition, or you already have melanoma, and you get the COVID vaccine, you are within a couple of months, you will relapse and it's going to be a bad relapse, and you're going to have to go through a more extensive or more intense immunotherapy things, right? You have a choice. Is it going to be better for you to risk getting COVID, or is it going to be better for you to get the vaccine and try to lessen your chance of getting COVID? And that's a decision that people ought to be allowed to make. It needs to be an informed decision, and it needs to be informed by the doctors, but it is a decision, like banning the vaccine and canceling the vaccine and turning the vaccine off for everybody isn't the answer to something like that. It's to do the research, it's to provide the information and allow those individuals to make that choice, unless, of course, it turns out that, no, we're not even going to give you the choice because taking this vaccine is actually going to be so bad for your pre-existing condition that this vaccine isn't an option for you, so you're going to have to isolate and mask up even more than the average person who should be who during a pandemic should be masking up to help you be allowed to exist.
So it has happened in the past, if I'm not wrong, that vaccines have been recalled, like a certain batch of vaccines have been recalled due to some reason. That doesn't mean that overall that vaccine would not work or would cause problems, right? And there are like safeguards placed which enable us to recall stuff, or vaccines, for example, or any medication in the market if there's any issues with it. So there are safeguards present. Maybe educating yourself around what those safeguards are might be a good start.
Well, and there was a really big thing with COVID and anybody who was immunocompromised. And if you're getting therapy for something like melanoma, you are the people that are at a higher risk if you get COVID. Like, COVID's likely going to straight kill you.
It's not just this. I'm now very much aware in my own circle of many people who are having, they haven't got melanoma, but they've never had anything before, but they've got lumps and bumps and they're not feeling well. And 2 people I've interviewed.
Yes, long COVID is a thing. Long COVID is a thing. It can cause you lots of continued problems over a long period of time. If anybody who's curious about that, there's a really good thread written by Sam Reich, who is a comedian and host for a show called for a program called Dropout. I think he's the CEO of Dropout. But go and check. He wrote a very, very fascinating Twitter thread about it. I'll see if I can find it and put it in the description below, but I definitely recommend reading it. It's very interesting. And it is just his own self-purporting, but it is an interesting read.
At great length, they all put it down to feeling awful after their booster. They were fine with the first 2 vaccines or just had shivers, flu, etc.
Yeah.
But they've described being very tired, very fatigued, wanted to stay in bed, and this is dragged on to the point where they've gone to the doctor and they've had blood counts and investigations, and I now know 7 of them. 2 of them have leukemias and the others have lymphomas, and 1 of them has a very bad...
He just said that they had nothing, then got the booster, then felt like shit, and then just started describing a bunch of pre-existing conditions. Like, am I wrong? Did I miss that?
Yeah.
I don't know if I just missed that.
He said that, he knows people who don't have melanoma, but we don't know what other pre-existing conditions they have, so he's not told us that.
Well, he said that they had
other
nothing,
axioms.
and then turned around and started talking about leukemia.
I would love to see, like, okay, that's an observation, but how did you make that connection? How are you making
I think
that
the point
connection?
is that the connection hasn't been...
correlation.
Well, I think what he's getting at is that the research isn't there, and the research should be done, and that's me taking the doctor here with
Charity.
With Charity, yeah. I'm taking it with Charity to say that these things are happening, and we need to do more research about this because we need to start making these kinds of decisions, which I totally agree with. But it's being presented as if it goes against what the prior doctor had said, the pediatric doctor, the family doctor. And what the family doctor said was that if these things were problematic, we would start seeing these things. But he wasn't talking about people with pre-existing conditions. He was talking about people getting a vaccine and giving birth to children that would then have issues due to this vaccination, which he's saying doesn't seem to be the case. And so the news is taking these 2 ideas and trying to smush them together to scare you, to put out bullshit, to put out a bullshit fearmonger anti-vax shit, because it's not, these things are not conducive. It's a bait and switch.
All the trolls out there, and to all the trolls out there who like very happily retweet this shit, I'm really disappointed in you. I'm so
Pay attention.
Come on, man. Pay attention, man. And also, they're talking about a
sheeple
vaccine. They're talking about they're talking about booster vaccine. They're not talking about the first one. They're talking about the second one, the booster. So, yeah, like you said, there is something to look into, but it needs to be looked into properly and maybe not talked about till it's done.
Well, and part of like calling for it is like it's a public call for, I think, for more research and concern about these specific things is fine. It getting twisted into something completely different is problematic and is like journalistic standards, blah, blah, blah.
Myeloma, which he was absolutely sure was...
This is a show called Dumb Feck Friday. If we're paying more attention than the news is, I feel like maybe something's gone wrong.
Instigated by the booster as he developed the dreadful symptoms. So I want to bring to everybody's attention that I think that this does not look like a coincidence to me, and we need to join forces and see if this is a real effect, and if it is, we must stop all the boosters immediately. Thank you.
if the media...
No, the answer is not stopping the boosters immediately either. That's too far. That is like you need to... What it should be is a call for a lot more thorough research and funding into that research to make sure that X, Y, and Z aren't happening to people with pre-existing conditions.
And give a choice to those people whether they want to have the vaccine or not.
Right.
While this thing is going on. People with those pre-existing conditions, they get a choice. They can refuse it or they can still take it. Like you said at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, give them that choice. Still give them that choice. And do your thing. But to, like, blow it up. And before the trolls go and say, see, there is something. No. You're saying that it's amongst the whole population on the planet. That's what you're trying to say. And what here is being said is it's... Oh god, that's perfect. Continue. What being said here is it's a very, very niche, like someone said 1% of the 1%. I'm using a metaphor. That's the part of the population is being spoken about. So yeah, nah.
You don't halt all of it because that's just not how things work, and that's not how the government works either. That's something that I notice with a lot of conspiracy theory type stuff. Is they think that the government is about dealing with individual problems of like individual people. That is not the government's job. The government's job is to make a countrywide, general, sweeping decisions that are going to be good for some people and bad for other people on an individual level. And sometimes kind of bad for everybody on an individual level, but good for the country from like that the health of the country standard. So that like this is just not... There seems to be a disconnect about what the government's job actually is. And to be fair, I also think the government is confused about what their job actually is, so I understand the confusion. It's kind of fair.
They made a lot of PR decisions that were just like, bruh, maybe not. Nah. So, like,
you got one more minute.
See what happens.
Sorry, go ahead. We got one more minute out of this video.
Oh, okay. Then we watch that because I can ramble on.
It was legitimate. They would be talking about one of the biggest crises that's happening in this country right now, which is a massive increase in all-cause mortality.
Yeah.
I recognize that voice. Is that Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
Is that Joe Rogan?
I don't know. Sorry, I don't listen to him that much to make that guess.
Chat.
What?
I recognize that voice. You tell me who you think that is.
Who's that author of the article, by the way?
Which one? The Alvin Powell?
The one that came on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Talking about one of the biggest crises that's happening in this country
Collins,
right now, which
Mike
is a massive
Capuzzo?
increase in all-cause mortality.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a massive increase, and they're completely silent on it. It's like in some age groups, it's a 40+% increase in all-cause mortality. Heart attack.
What?
Which age group? Huh? In some age... What? Let them keep going.
Strokes, cancer.
If they're saying nobody's talking about it, why are there so many articles of people talking about it? This is the Wall Street Journal. Okay.
Gee, what do you think happened that changed where all of a sudden there's this massive increase and it coincides with something else? Don't you think maybe they would investigate that? Don't you think that like you would have some sort of investigative reporter that dives deep into this and gets to the bottom?
No. You would not have an investigative reporter working on that. You would have the doctors and researchers working on that. And it wouldn't be a fucking podcast, Joe. That's not how it works. That's not how science does its job. People are researching it. That people are always researching cancer. There's so much money in cancer research.
Sometimes this guy sounds very reasonable, and sometimes I'm just like, are you a Poe? Like, yeah. So I found the
Why would you use Joe Rogan as a reference point in your news show? He's not news.
And the article that's being put on the screen, I would love to. I've actually found it, so it would be good. I would love to have a look at it, maybe later, not today.
Yeah, we can dive into that another day for sure. Yeah, we can come back to that.
I found it.
So, moving on.
Such a good girl.
Enough of this. As soon as you brought in Joe Rogan, I'm gonna have... I don't hate Joe Rogan, by the way. It's not like a dislike or dislike of Joe Rogan. It's just, it's their use of Joe Rogan that I'm like...
He's like that younger brother at the parties who just goes like, oh yeah. That's who he is.
Thank you, chat, for confirming for me that was Joe Rogan, by the way. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys.
Alright, so the next one we got here is... we've got... Oh, that's just a funny one for the end. We got a funny one, but let's do something that... This one's a little bit yikes, and because I see a lot of people talking about, like, going real life, and, like, people are calling CPS allegedly on other people, yada, 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 yada. So I figured I'd show you guys, like, a legitimate time that the internet has involved itself to be like, what? Excuse me?
Whoa.
So this was a post about that somebody had made about their child, and they had said, I had to discipline my son tonight. It's not... So trigger warnings. I guess this whole thing has been trigger warnings, but I feel like that's every show.
Trigger warning, guys.
I had to discipline my son tonight. It's not the first time, but I'm heartbroken. It's necessary, but I hate it so much. It's especially difficult since he's such a good boy. He's such an easy boy to parent, but he's still a sinner, and since I love him, I must discipline him. So red flags here, but turns out people had looked into this. The kid was 4 months old.
Madam or sir, madam, I don't know. I'm not going to...
It's a guy. It's a man.
Okay,
you don't have to assume. He talks about it.
Sir, you need to stay away from your child. Like you need to be out of, like, your child's life, like, by 10 kilometers. Get out of... Dude. But what?
The internet.
Like, yeah, what kind of
this is where the internet involved itself. There wasn't a whole lot of people, like, doing shows talking about this for 7 years. What happened is Marion County CPS has been alerted. The report has been made in an official capacity alongside the others. MCCPS reports. They've had quite a few reports about it already. So people are already like, you don't have to report anymore. They know, they understand, they're taking the report and moving forward. And that's where it gets dropped. Right? This is the way things like this should be handled, because it's not like abuse does not happen and is not visible on the internet, but what you need to... This is the type of shit you need to be looking for. Finding out, like, a little bit about what's going on, and then the report's made, and then it gets dropped. Not hours and hours and hours of fucking YouTube content for, like, trauma farming.
Yeah, that's not fair on the child. That's not fair on the family at all. So don't do that, man. If you really care about the child, report it, and you can track what's going on. You can track what's going on, but maybe talk about it when there's something new popping up.
Daddy of Five was one of those scenarios where their kids were clearly on video being abused. Like there have been rules on YouTube have changed, and governments have made changes to, like, broadcasting rules on things like YouTube and stuff. Particularly in Canada, there was one that came up more recent, and there were some concerns about it from some people, which were reasonable concerns. But regardless of what your belief on politics are in that case, one of the things that changed specifically was that if your kid is in your YouTube channel, you need to be following the act. The act has a name, but it's like a Child Protections Act for, like, broadcasting, and so, like, those rules are required to be followed. But Daddy of Five had clearly on camera talked about, shown children being abused, like, just not even a question about whether or not it's abuse. It was abuse. And so it took a little while, but the internet did involve itself. But what you didn't have, or what was not reported on, was not seen, was like tons of channels making content farming these children's this dad's abusing, or this mother and father abusing their kids. There were people reporting on it, but it didn't turn into we're calling the family. It was like straight up, hey, this is going on, CPS has been called. That's reporting, not involving in that way.
And maybe looking into the history of what's going on or how this complaint came into existence. That's fine.
Right.
You can do that. But you gotta stop. At some point you got to stop. You can't go back again and again and do that, because then you are now, putting that family and that kid on the internet too much. And when that kid grows up,
I haven't seen a single YouTuber out here making more Daddy of 5 content. Like, it doesn't exist. No. Like, good. It shouldn't exist. You shouldn't be going back to find these videos, yada, 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 yada.
Also, don't force your kid to come on camera when they don't want to come on camera. That happened a lot in 8
Yeah, that's abuse.
Yeah, that's
don't abuse your kids.
Respect your the boundary that your child is setting. Do not force them to come on camera.
Well, you shouldn't force anybody to come on camera, regardless of their age, regardless of any of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You shouldn't be forcing people to do stuff like that.
Yeah, if your child is an adult, and don't do that to them. You don't have a right to tell them to do that. Stop, especially when they're an adult.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
All right. So speaking of,
positive.
Somebody brought up Joe Rogan and Russell Brand. Charlie Kirk in the video that I just put out had put out the talking about the Great Replacement, because Nazis. And so we've got Russell Brand with Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is one of the goofiest fucking faces. He's so goofy. Like, look at him. He's
it is.
But this says, quote, if the product itself is truly safe and effective, then you shouldn't be afraid of the claims that are coming after you in court. That's not how that works, sir. But if you're, I feel like this could easily be spun around on him and say, well, if you didn't assault anybody, then you shouldn't be concerned that people are claiming you assaulted somebody.
Yeah, go to court, dude. Stand in front of a judge.
Right, it's just not how that works. And people shouldn't be, that shouldn't be the response that he gets. He shouldn't be giving that response to other people either. What? Oh, okay.
Dude. I get it. I get your feeling. I get your feeling there. I get it. Don't do that.
Oh, Tom, is that actually going on right now? We're probably going to talk about that if we get confirmation on that. We'll probably talk about that on the tavern.
That's brilliant.
Next Saturday? This Saturday coming up? Not tomorrow. Yeah, the 30th, next Saturday.
No, next one. Yeah.
All right, interesting point by Charlie Kirk. In the vaccine adverse event reporting system, taxpayers cover all the claim costs, not pharmaceutical companies. So let's yay, it's still anti-vax.
Yeah,
rubella shot, and you go into a seizure, which
you should trust Nazis when it comes to medical procedures. That's a joke. That's a 7-layer joke, and you tell me if you got it. All right.
Let's say that you get a measles, mumps, and rubella shot, and you go into a seizure, which happens more than people ever want to acknowledge. I'm not anti-vax. I'm just saying this is a fact, okay? The way it works is then you fill out a form. It's called the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, and all the claims are funded by the taxpayer.
So Charlie Kirk's not anti-vax, apparently?
The first claim he made, it just my brain just went.
Hold on, I'll play it again.
He's saying that.
Let's say that you get a measles, mumps, and rubella shot, and you go into a seizure, which happens more than people ever want to acknowledge. I'm not anti-vax. I'm just saying this is a fact, okay?
Which happens more than the people want to acknowledge. Citation needed. Citation, please. Thank you very much. Let's continue. Ugh. Yeah, I was like, huh? Nani? Hey.
I mean, I earnestly don't. He's talking about, let's look. Let's look. He's talking about seizures due to vaccines, right?
Measles and mumps, specifically.
Rubella vaccine. Studies have shown, this is from the Center of Disease, the CDC, right? And he's referencing the CDC, yeah. Studies have shown a small increased risk for febrile seizures during a 5 to 12 day after a child has received their first vaccine for measles, mumps, rubella, the MMR vaccine. The risk is slightly higher with the MMRV combination, but the risk is still small. If I pull it up so you guys can see,
yes,
up to 5% of young children, 5%, it's hard for me to tell, like 5% of...
What's the sample size?
What's the sample size? Yeah, what's the... So I don't know if this is like, it's hard for me to say that it's more than anybody's willing to say. So he's implying that this is...
Put the link in the chat, I'll have a look at it.
Oh, yeah. We can dive into it a little bit more thoroughly.
Yeah, I'll have a look at it and we listen as we listen to this.
Yeah.
But it's a small risk. There's a risk, it's a small risk. And in medicine and diseases, nothing is certain. There's always a possibility there. So yeah. I'm not dismissing it, but I'm saying it's never going to be 100%. There's also going
I want to see, because that sounds scary. Convulsions that can happen when a young child has a fever of about 104 degrees Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius. So the seizures usually last for a few minutes and stop on their own. The fever may continue for some time. Most seizures stop without treatment and don't cause any other health problems. So this is my issue. They're talking about this like this is a big deal that's going to destroy your child's life, when it's something they can get from just having a fever alone. And 5% chance, maybe.
The risk
it's not even, I don't even think it's 5% chance, because it's a 5% of kids, and I don't know what the number of children they're basing it. Between a certain age group.
I'm looking. Yeah, so they're saying a CDC study of children aged 6 months to 2 years has shown a small increase. I think so. You read that, isn't it? You read that.
Yeah. So I'm not really sure what Charlie Kirk is getting at here, outside of trying to fearmonger people who don't know who think that seizures are, like, a seizure that can happen to a child is going to, like, destroy their life if they get this vaccine. Because
the start of the article says that febrile seizures can be frightening, but nearly all children who have a febrile seizure recover quickly. Febrile seizures do not cause any permanent harm and do not have any lasting effects. It's scary, yes. Your kid's gonna be fine.
It's also less scary if you actually know about it, right? Because if you know about what it is and how it happens and why it might happen, you're gonna be way less freaked out if it does happen. So stop trying to take informing people about something and turning it into a bad thing. Oh my god.
Yeah.
The way it works is then you fill out a form. It's called the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, and all the claims are funded by the taxpayer. So the vaccine companies never...
What claims?
Any damages faced, I guess that's what he means.
I mean, yeah, but how, like, if this is a known thing that goes on and has been going on for as long as forever, as far as we can tell, that, like, if you get a fever, what amount of money are you talking about?
Needed.
What are you talking about? Look at fucking Russell Brand's doofy-ass face. Both of these people have doofy-ass faces.
Sorry, I nearly, like, dived out of the screen, sorry. I was just like...
Never have to touch it. So they have no liability. So I want you to imagine that you're a multi-hundred billion dollar enterprise and you have no check and balance from the consumer. We wouldn't tolerate this with airlines, with bank.
That's not true. We do tolerate that with airlines.
Citation needed. There's FDA, Food and Drug Administration. It's there for a reason. Where are you talking about UK? Are you talking about UK? Where is this fella from? Canada, UK?
Well, it's Charlie Kirk, so he's talking America, but he's speaking to Russell Brand, who's from the UK.
Okay.
So I'm assuming he's talking about America, and he's explaining to the way it works in America, where if damages happened, it comes out of the taxpayer money, not like the hospital. And it's like,
because
that kind of makes sense. Or is he, I think Charlie Kirk might be suggesting that it should be the vaccine companies that have to pay the damages. But I still don't know what the numbers are that he's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you need to take on the risk. This is part of the risk. You will have to compensate as a taxpayer to people who do end up maybe with something, you know, end up having some sort of damage or discomfort, whatever you want to. I'm not trying to downplay.
And Leela makes another very good point, too, right? It's like that there are still very sadly a small percentage of children that get SIDS. That's, yes, it's a thing. Birth is never going to be perfect. It's messy business. so like we're never going to have, but the problem is fear-mongering like this leads to less health access for women, pregnant women, and children in America. Like, if you look at America's like mortality rate via pregnancy, it's third world country numbers. It's third world country numbers. It's horrible.
Yeah. Remember last year what I was saying? That US will end up being like a third world country.
Oh yeah, it's been really bad for a long time as well. So let's let him finish.
With credit card companies, again, there's a little bit of moral.
That's not true, by the way, but neither of those things are true. They did it with banks, and they did it with, like, America did it with banks. They did it with the airline companies, both directly. The government bailed them out, and so when the government bailed them out, the taxpayers paid for that, and they got nothing in return because the airline companies did nothing but squeeze and scrunch everything. Airline companies are a mess, and I also recommend, if you want to know more about that, watch John Oliver's video about it.
Yeah. Awesome.
We bail out those companies far too often, but just from a small government perspective, we have created a big government protection racket of the biggest companies that never have to answer for their products' potential.
Yes, like airlines and banks. Wall Street.
What are you finding up?
What happens when the stock market crashes, sir?
Yeah, what happens then?
I mean, I agree with the... we're back to this thing with conspiracy theories. I agree with your premise. I agree with the idea that it is problematic that the government and taxpayer dollars are being used and weaponized against its own people. Right? I agree with this. I understand that.
What are you doing about it, dude?
But the problem is the changeover from one thing to another and the complete dismissal of other places where it's legitimately happened and is happening and is an ongoing thing. The Canadian government gave out subsidies and money to Bell and Rogers specifically to do a job of updating and fixing cables and updating to fiber cables or to higher pair cables in rural areas. They took the money and didn't do the work. And that's taxpayer money to two corporations. Sorry, go ahead.
Chesh will kill me, obviously. So, Theranos. Rupert Murdoch. He invested quite a big, I think so, in hundreds or towards hundreds millions.
Who did?
And Rupert Murdoch.
Oh, yes.
Owner of the Washington Post. And he didn't, obviously he suffered losses. And you know what the taxpayer did? Bailed him out, gave him a cut on taxes to compensate for it.
Yep.
Theranos was going through the process of coming up with a machine and it was FDA and people from FDA who were like, no.
Oh.
No. So dude, there's so many examples. So the taxpayer paid for the losses, Rupert Murdoch's losses.
And
Not
what
Elizabeth
did
Holmes.
And what did Rupert Murdoch own? What's he known for owning, Manya?
Ooh, is it the Fox?
Who is
it the? Yeah, this is the whole
It's Fox.
thing. including the Washington Post that exposed Elizabeth Holmes. So
actually harming the consumers. Now, the reason they passed it, Russell, was we need to increase our vaccination rates and we need to protect these companies. And my answer is, but if the product itself is truly safe enough.
It's not about protecting the companies. It's about protecting the people who need the vaccines.
Yeah, citation needed. Seriously, what the fuck are you talking about, man? You're just rambling.
I'm sure Russell Brand with his Rumble chunk in the background is going to question and actually like hardball Charlie Kirk a little bit and ask him to like, how do you verify some of these things?
Effective, then you shouldn't be afraid of the claims that are coming after you in court. Then fine. You know, little Johnny's in a wheelchair.
Why does Russell Brand agree with that? Like, it doesn't seem like something that would go in his favor.
Because he got into a conversation without doing any research, and now he's a sitting puppet. He is going on what
you mean
a
failed or like a debunked or like somebody who was or tried to be in the entertainment industry who is no longer successful in the entertainment industry turning to right-wing punditry? We don't see that for all of the Daily Wire. Hey, come on. That's not big enough yet. It's growing. It's growing. It'll get there. It's a grower, not a shower. Come on.
Did your vaccine do that or did it not do that? And pay the claim or fight it in court. And so there's this protection racket that nobody wants to touch, which is basically immunity for the four big manufacturers. The two biggest in America are Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. They basically run the American Pharmaceutical Project. And if right now I went and got a COVID shot and all of a sudden I dropped dead, or if I had, lasting health effects, I cannot see Pfizer in court. At this moment. Now,
of course not.
Why?
You're dead.
One, yes, and again,
this is the same reason why, like, these are the people that are going to argue that police
it has happened
should
with other vaccines too.
No, but Manya, these are the same people that are going to argue that police should have protections and and not face direct consequences if they make errors during.
Oh yes, of course.
So it's the taxpayer it's the taxpayers who pay out the families who've lost somebody after going through grueling court. The taxpayers pay for that. The police don't pay for that. The individuals don't pay for that. The company who sells or makes the guns that shoot people don't pay for that. Because it's not about the manufacturing of the thing and the making of the product. It's about the administration of the product. And so because the product is being administrated by the doctors, it goes into this and it lives in this pocket of there are known knowns and there are known unknowns, where there is a risk to all of these things. Should people be informed about these risks? Absolutely. They should be informed about the risk and then make informed decisions about the risk. But this isn't informing people. This is fear-mongering.
So, yeah, it has, I don't know, in the oxycodone prices that happened around the Purdue pharma, I don't know who was the party that brought that, what do you call it? that suit against them. Yeah, I'm just trying to find out, because if it's the government, then yes, it's the government does do that on behalf of the taxpayers maybe.
That's the government's job. Yes, the government is there to be like, okay, well, if this vaccine is going out and there's been some kind of mismanagement, blah blah blah. What happened to that guy? That guy who got exposed for like that one guy that was like definitely a big pharma guy who was like marking up needed medications by like 2,000%. What was that guy's name? I can't remember.
Chat,
you know what I'm talking about?
Help us. Please.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah.
It was a couple of years ago. He got in big trouble. As far as I know, he doesn't even, like, exist doing anything anymore because he just got, like, absolutely destroyed. I'm gonna put in Big Pharma lawsuit guy Martin Shkreli. Hey, I found it when I said. I love Google sometimes. Big Pharma lawsuit guy.
And
this
you know
guy.
What happened later?
This guy.
You know what happened? You know what happened later?
Hmm.
Purdue Pharma pursued bankruptcy, and they were approved by a U.S. bankruptcy judge in 2021. Would provide 10 billion value to creditors. Again, taxpayer money. Bitch.
Yeah. 2017 was charged and convicted in federal court on 2 counts of securities fraud and count of conspiracy for activity unrelated to the Daraprim controversy.
And you know what they also got? Immunity from any future lawsuits.
Oh.
Yeah.
Weird.
Let's talk about that, bitch. Let's go. Let's sit down and talk about that.
There's little workarounds that people like Del Bigtree and others are trying to be able to finally get them to be able to held accountable. But so to answer your question, Russ, what would I do? The first thing I would do is I would say you no longer get special taxpayer-funded protection as a pharmaceutical company.
Stay free. That's not what they're getting. That's what banks got. That's what airlines got. They're not even... the automotive industry has been bailed out multiple times by taxpayer money. Multiple times. So when are any of them going to pay any of that back? Is it never? It was probably never. So, like, the thing is like, these things that they're talking about are real things that exist, that are problems I would agree with and need to be addressed. But they take these things and instead of actually addressing where it happens, they pretend they don't exist and try to make it about something unrelated. It's what Leela said earlier. It is taking one truth and turning it into 999 lies, and that is 100. You're a real one.
So
such a little weirdo.
This lawsuit against Purdue Pharma was brought by the Massachusetts Attorney General Maura Healey. Yeah, so it was the government.
Insulin, that's what it was. Oh my god.
Yes, insulin.
It is just...
Uh-oh.
So, you know it was the first day of spring recently?
Yes.
Yeah, it was snowing and hailing where I was. Right now, I don't know if you can see out the window. You can't. It's snow. It's snow. All the roofs covered in snow. There's like gonna be probably like 1 or 2 inches.
It's snowing, men. Hallelujah, it's snowing, men.
No, it's not. There's no men. It's just like big old snowflakes like this big. Puck's gonna be happy. I just noticed I felt a draft, and I was like, what the heck? And I think the window might be a little bit open. And I looked over and I was like, oh, Jesus.
Jesus.
I want to show you guys something fun now that we've talked about all that awful garbage.
Yeah. He warned you. He fucking warned you. So
I'm gonna read you guys something fun out loud, and then we'll end it on that.
Why, Chesh. Why do you do this to me?
I'm gonna grab my microphone. I'm gonna turn my gain up. Turn myself down and turn my gain up. Hold on. We gotta get right. We need the right mood.
Sorry,
we need the right mood. All right, how's that? Does it sound all right?
Yeah, this is calm.
You good?
This is a place
all
where
right.
you come to find your zen. Welcome all.
The pressure was built up in her uterus, and she knew her period had arrived. Looking around class, everyone was focused on their work, and Mr. Johnson was flipping through his newspaper. Of course the guy's name is Mr. Johnson. You know, Dick. Penis. Johnson. She raised her hand, and he looked up. I need to use the restroom. Mr. Johnson squinted. Hold it. She slunk back into her seat and clenched her pelvic muscles to stop the flow of her crimson shame. 10 minutes passed. What? However...
Okay.
Oh, you gave up already? What are you doing? Where are you going?
Like, what? What the fuck?
10 minutes passed.
Her pelvic muscles to stop the flow of her crimson shame. Dude. I know shit comes with the urine when we urinate, with the urine, right? Shit comes with that, but the main thing, the crimson shame, you fucking baka, the fucking crimson shame has its own mind. Bitch, and it comes from the cervix. Like, not the cervix, like a uterus. And you can't control the inner lining or the muscles of the uterus. What the fuck?
10 minutes passed, however, and the pressure was mounting. She did a good job holding it in for the time, but it was becoming a desperate situation. She raised her hand again. Mr. Johnson misogynistically sighed. What? I really need to go to the bathroom. Fine, but you get an F for female. She frowned, but had no choice. She made a mad dash to the bathroom, breaking her heels along the way, which flattened her shoes enough to gain more speed. As she ran towards the bathroom, her heaving, ample breasts, filled with milk, bounced and sloshed back and forth in her bra. Thankfully, she made it in time before her womb made a bloody explosion. She inspected her panties in the stall and sighed in relief. Thank you, Kegels. She pushed and peed, and the blood hard. What? Sorry, I read that wrong. She pushed and peed the blood hard into the toilet, making it look like a murder scene all over the porcelain walls. Now, to plug herself up, she pulled a tampon from her purse and opened the packet. Perspiration beaded on her forehead as she examined the phallic shape. As she pushed it inside, she let out a gasp, then moaned, Mr. Johnson would never know the wonders of being a woman. You're welcome.
Which scenario is this? which scenario is this? Hold on a minute. Can you go up? Can you go back
Oh,
up?
yeah.
And now I'm gonna... So, now go way to the start. To the start. It's a class. Okay. So maybe it's a college class?
I don't know. In what world does breaking your heels off your high heels help you run faster? Because that's not the way high heels aren't built that way. High heels fall downwards this way if you break the heels off.
You're gonna fall backwards. That's what's gonna happen.
It's not gonna help you run any faster.
And also, who's Mr. Johnson in that class?
He's the dick.
Why is he reading a newspaper? Why is he reading the newspaper?
He's
if it's a college class, okay.
Maybe it's not a college class. Maybe it's a high school class. You don't know.
No, because who wears heels to high school class?
I don't know. Overly sexualized women in books. That's who.
And who in school, whatever grade you just said, has breasts filled with milk?
So,
this guy is disturbed. Whoever wrote this is
I kind of hope it's a Poe. I kind of hope it's just made up. But it was just men writing women, and I don't have like a reference.
I'm breathing hard right now because of the stupidity of this whole post. That's why I said it might be a college class, because he said breasts filled with milk and heels. Yeah, people are not believing a woman. Oh yeah, okay. Of course it's not us.
Yeah.
It's not the men.
Yeah.
Oh god. It's a man from the fact that he doesn't know what happens when you break your heels.
Sure, yeah.
That
do what now? But Kegels don't help with, wait, and milk? Is she a new mom? And then she peed? And the tampon? What though? I do not have I do not have confirmation that this is a real post. I don't know if it's actually real.
You know what I'm gonna do, right?
You're gonna look it up. You're gonna grab a paragraph and Google search it and see if it comes up.
Of course.
Do it, Manya.
That's what's gonna happen, and I'm gonna blast this motherfucker, whoever it is.
Manya's gonna find out.
I will find you, and I will blast you for writing women so bad. I don't know what sort of kink you have, or are you a predator, but do not ever write any book again, period.
This is a very weird way to describe a tampon. Phallic.
Yeah. You get an F for
an oversized cotton cork.
That's a lawsuit coming if it's even a school.
You know
or
what that
college.
is?
It's a lawsuit coming.
That's somebody who's seen a Tampax commercial, like the Tampax Pearl commercial that's got like that smoothie shape to it for like, but that's the inserter, not the tampon.
Again.
This is the guy. This is written by somebody. This is written by somebody who watched herbal essences and then thought that they could put it on their dick and would make a woman orgasm. An herbal essence commercial. Alright, well, I hope you guys all had fun at the end there. I hope I didn't horrify you too much. I thought it was funny.
No,
we have to find out if it's real or not.
Now.
You're welcome.
Yes, I will find out. I will
You're welcome.
find you. As General Zod said to Superman's mom. Laura Clark? No, what was her name? What was his mother's name? Fuck.
Which one?
What was Clark Kent? Clark Kent. His
Clark?
No.
Why did you say that name?
Yeah, Martha.
That name?
That was Martha. No.
No, not that one.
No.
You're
damn
talking
it.
about
I just
his mom on Krypton?
Yes, Krypton. Fuck my life. Lara. Sorry.
Lara Croft?
Huh? Yeah. I think so. I said that, didn't it? It automatically came out of my mouth, but I was like so confused whether
you
it's
said
right
Lara
or
first.
wrong, and I went. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. So what? So in the movie, how General Zod said to Lara Croft, "I will find him." Yeah, it's that.
I have a very specific set of skills, and I will find you. I will put you on blast on Twitter.
And trust me, bro, I'm good at it.
All right,
Trust me,
well,
bro,
we're
I'm
gonna
good at
get out of here. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a lot of fun today. We'll be back next week, I'm sure. Please join us on Monday. We've got real debate content coming back. We're having a debate between somebody who believes in evolution and somebody who does not believe in evolution, and it's like real debate content now with 100% less Nazis, as in 0 Nazis. As far as I know, this guy is not. So,
nice.
I'm excited. It's been a long time since we've had any real, like, debate content. So we've got real debate content. There's rules and everything. I got a timer set up. I am so fucking excited. It's gonna be Jackson Wheat Dapper Dinosaur. This is gonna be...
That's so
cool. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And I really hope that it does launch into more debate content, because I am here for it.
Yes.
Also, we have... You have a video coming out soon, so go check out Monty's channel. You can find it linked down below. And we have a tavern coming out on Saturday, and the first is going to be April Fool's Rum and Coke Night. So bring a goofy hat and come and join us. You don't have to drink; it's not required. And then we have another video coming, or I'll have another debate hub as well coming out, but it will be more of the discussion variety, where we're going to be talking about the mentality of, like, the psychology of conspiracy theorists. So.
That's great. Who would
there's
that
a
be?
lot of shit coming out.
Who's the person in that?
Bearded Heretic and Generic Minority.
Brilliant.
The two people who have studied psychology. People who actually know what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
Yeah.
That's why I asked.
Please feel free to take a look at the video that came out yesterday. It was a lot of goofy fun, and that is where we got some of the conspiracy theorists that we look into today. And yeah, we got more stuff coming out. Like, subscribe, all that good shit. Thank you so much. Consider becoming a member if you've super chatted in the past or you are a member. Thank you so much for supporting us financially. If you do not or are not able to support financially, please like and share and all that good shit. Let's get out of here. Say goodbye, Manya.
Bye.
You do it wrong every time. You're supposed to say goodbye, Manya.
Hello.
Welcome back to Don't Feck Friday. Don't Feck Friday. Don't Feck Friday. Don't Feck Friday.
It's great. going to be fun.